Hi, this is Lee Phillips. I want to talk to you about the documentation that you need in your company on major financial dealings. Now, a minute ago, we talked about another issue, and that was when you are doing something that interacts with the company. And you've got to be real careful on that because we don't want to have your alter ego. We don't want the corporate veil to be set aside. And by the way, corporate veil is the same in the LLC as it is in the corporation, which basically means you need to keep the same type of formalities in order to prove to the court that this really wasn't your alter ego. So, in your bylaws, in your operating agreements, there are things it talks about that the company has to approve. It will say, the officers and directors or the manager has to approve a lease. Okay, that's a click. When you do a lease, you need a resolution printed out, and then you need a minute entry in your minutes, quarterly, annually, whatever it is, that say officers and directors approve the lease that was signed on such and such a date. That's all you need to say, but that documented it, and it said that you had complied with your bylaws or your operating agreement. Other things that are going to require resolutions or documentation would be the setting up of a bank account. Now, obviously, you're going to have the checking account ledgers and the bookkeeping ledgers and all of that stuff, and that's certainly documentation. But here again, the bylaws, the operating agreement are going to say any purchase of a major asset needs to be approved by the shareholders or the members. So you have to read the document and see what specifically has to be approved by the officers and directors or by the manager if it's an LLC. And it's important that you keep these straight and have in your mind what needs to be approved, who needs to approve it, and then make the minute entry. Very simple, don't go into detail. The art of the lawyer is to be able to write something so that it doesn't say anything. And authorized lease on such and such a date with John Doe Property Management, that doesn't tell me much. So it documents it, but it doesn't say anything. And like I say, that's the way you want it. Don't tell them anything, but just document it. If you have to fire an employee, that often has to be documented. If you hire an employee, that often has to be documented. These types of things are in your operating agreement and your bylaws. So I'll say it again, you've got to read those documents to know what you're doing. The resolution is a simple document, one paragraph that says the officers and directors hereby resolve to have the company enter into the lease, or resolve to have the company fire John Henry, or to hire John Henry, or whatever. It's just a very simple thing, no details, just what was the transaction, and we authorized it. That's all you do in the resolutions.